For job hunters, last month offered up little in the way of gifts. The number of people working in Canada was virtually unchanged, which meant it fell way short of expected job creation. It's yet another sign the economy is struggling under the weight of those 10 interest rate hikes. Let's bring in Jeannie Lee for more on these fresh numbers. So Jeannie, tell us, how tough is it to land a job?
Well, last month it wasn't that tough if you were looking for a healthcare job or a social assistance job, but really a whole lot of other people lost work, and that's why on a net basis you had 100 measly jobs created in all of Canada, or gained in all of Canada, which is really a rounding error, isn't it? When you consider that 20,000 jobs were expected and you got 100. So here are some of a graph that shows you exactly how far short the job market has fallen in several months, in fact. So you see at the end of that graph, that's the monthly increase in jobs, and that was 100 when we usually talk in thousands. And every month over the last year, you had some job gains, you had some job losses, but very few months where you had enough to just keep up with the growth of the numbers of people who want to work. So the workforce is growing by about 53,000 every single month. So a result of practically no jobs really falls short. And it wasn't just in terms of the numbers. There were other weak details in all of this. So let's consider those for a moment. We had almost 24,000 jobs that were lost that were full-time positions last month. This is always something that really has an effect on the economy, because full-time jobs obviously add much more to the economy and to growth than part-time or more precarious jobs would. You had three major sectors that lost more than 10,000 jobs each, almost 20,000 in some cases: construction, manufacturing, and agriculture. So those are sectors that are suffering a lot based on these numbers in terms of cutting back on hiring or cutting back on job creation. The jobless rate, meanwhile, rose to 5.8%, when a year ago we were talking about 5% unemployment. And in fact, it held steady at 5% for a good long time, something like 5 months. And now it's way up beyond that level. So really quite disappointing on many fronts, especially for those who are looking for work and can't find it.
So a lot of people have really felt the pain of those higher interest rates, which leads to the question, how might this report influence the Bank of Canada's next move?
Well, the bank does not have an easy job, and this definitely adds to that body of evidence that it's a tough job to be the governor of the Bank of Canada and the decision makers there, because you have these rates, 10 rate hikes, which obviously will weigh now on employment. 2 full years just about since the interest rates began to go up, which of course has all kinds of effects. So what it has in terms of effects on employers would be the following. Let's take a look at those. Higher rates will of course hurt consumption all around, consumers, businesses, etc. And so businesses will have to cut back on hiring when their business falls. And high rates plus inflation, meanwhile, are igniting demands, and we've seen that time and again, most recently among the air transit flight attendants. They're asking for bigger raises all the time. And in fact, last month, the annual raise averaged out at 5.4%, which is, again, higher than it's been. So you have rising wage inflation and yet a stagnant economy. So that's going to give the Bank of Canada a tough time. Wage inflation will still be the main concern, though, even as the economy slumps. So bottom line is, do not expect those interest rate breaks to come that soon. Some people were thinking maybe April, maybe not April, maybe a little later, the way things are going, especially when you consider that in the U.S. today, that country reported still rocking job market. And so the U.S. Fed isn't going to be in any hurry to lower rates based on that, and that gives the Bank of Canada a little bit of room to also hold back as well.
Jeannie, thank you.
You're welcome.